Hello everybody. Several of you have had my bread, which is a recipe that I changed a little bit from Jim LaHaye's bread book. And I'm going to show you how to make it today. And I want to thank my son Holland West for being the IT coordinator and choreographer for this. He's filming it. And here's Ruby. Apparently she wants to be part of the show. I am going to show you how to make it in my mama's kitchen with my mama's things. So first I have to come over here, put on my apron, and I can tell you the ingredients. You're going to need bread flour, 3 cups. You're going to need salt. I use sea salt, but you can use regular table salt. You'll need a 1/4 teaspoon of active dry yeast. Oh, and for the salt, it'll be a teaspoon and a 1/4 for the salt. So to recap, 3 cups of bread flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of active dry yeast, and a teaspoon and a 1/4 of the salt. So I use this salt, I use this bread flour, I use this yeast. They can be found anywhere. It doesn't matter what brand. What matters is that it's bread flour and that it says active dry yeast. The last ingredient is warm water, anywhere from 2 to 3 cups. And for this will be part 1. We'll do the setting of the bread. You'll need a pretty big bowl and a spatula or something that doesn't have a lot of wires in it. I use a spatula, you can use a spoon, whatever you want. So the first thing that goes in is 3 cups of flour, bread flour. Then the teaspoon and a 1/4 of yeast. Did you get that, bud? And a 1/4 teaspoon of the yeast. At home, I just have Costco version, so I have like everything in bulk, but at my mom's, it's a lot easier to keep this smaller. So the dry ingredients get mixed together. I don't know where I learned this, but somebody long ago in my family, for some reason, has me afraid to not leave a hole in the bottom of the flour. I don't know what if that does anything, but you can do it however you want. But once I get it mixed, I always leave this little bitty divot in the center. Once it's mixed, get your hot water, and I pour slowly. And Holland, if you want to come get a close-up of this so they can see the consistency inside the bowl.
I'm zooming in on it.
Okay, can you get the top of the bowl?
Yeah, I have it.
All right. So first, it's just it's like you don't have enough water. But the more I mix it, it starts looking a little bit like when you make biscuits, or if you've ever made biscuits. And then when I get to about 1.5 cups, it starts all sticking together with just a little bit left on the edges and on the bottom of the bowl. So this is when I know that I'm getting close to it being the perfect consistency. If it gets too liquidy, you can always add a little more flour. It changes the taste a little, it makes the taste a little bit less or bland, but it'll still work. So you can tell it's starting to get sticky. And I want it almost like pancake batter. I guess somewhere in between the two. Some people can do this with just a cup of water. In fact, sometimes it only takes me 1.5 cups. Sometimes it only takes me a cup. Most of the time, however, it takes really close to 3 cups. So now I'm getting this uniform bread ball. I'm gonna add a little more water. And let it just soak that up, because you don't want any water around the edges. It's okay if you do. It'll bake real bubbly and have a hard crust and kind of a cave-like center instead of the bread texture. So now you can see how it's looking more like closer to pancake batter, but not quite. Then I scrape down the sides. Make sure there's no dry parts to it. What do you think, Holland? Does that look pretty good?
Yeah, it does.
All right. And then you cover it. I usually use a plate. You can also use saran wrap. I'll grab a plate. It's not big enough, hold on. Okay. I think most of my plates are in the dishwasher. So, we'll do saran wrap. If your bowls come with little plastic lids, those are great. Just anything that's gonna keep there from being much air in it. Because the yeast is going to get way active with that hot water. It's going to turn this into bread dough. So, once you have it covered pretty snugly, you're going to put it in a warm, draft-free spot. So, since you're at my mama's, I'm going to put it on the stove. And you're going to want it to sit there for at least 12 hours. I usually make bread around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, so that the next morning whenever I get up, it's ready. But that's the end of our part 1, first phase. You just let it sit for 12 to 18 hours, and I will see you on that end of it. You're gonna need a working space. I usually use parchment paper to lay out over my bar. Some extra flour, it doesn't matter what kind, sea salt, oil, and that's it.